Imagine that this happens in the next 10 to 20 years and to think that it won't have any consequences on Europe because we live in a sort of bubble protected by I don't know what. It's simply being naive. And so I think that this common interest should one day push Europe to decide to act as a political entity that will defend itself, even its interests, including by means of the engagement of its military.
Hello Buzz Nation, welcome back to our video, our channel, our nation, and thank you so much that you are here. Thank you so much for supporting us by watching this video and by hitting the like button and by subscribing too. And thank you to our brothers and sisters who are continuing to support us by donating to our PayPal link on the description and also buying us a coffee for $5 only. Still, the link is in the description and on the screen. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let us chat in the Buy Me a Coffee. Share links with us. If you need us to see something, tell us something, recommend some things, propose things, and we will be happy. So, guys, this is the 21st century, and Africans have woken up, or the black person has woken up. People, most Africans, I can say, what percentage? Over 50% have really woken up. They are not asleep. They know that we are the real deal. Do you know that? Okay, we know you do because that's why you're here. And with that, the Western people or the people who have been perpetrating bad things on us have not hidden their agenda. We know a lot of things. We know of the New World Order. And you know what just happened? The former French Army Chief of Staff, General Lecointre, announces a military recolonization of Africa by France and Europe in the next 10 years. Is it not crazy?
What is our common destiny as Europeans? It is the Mediterranean and Africa where our destiny is at stake. And so we have constantly tried, we French, to lead the Europeans in this awareness of the need to act collectively in Africa and the Mediterranean. And I am absolutely sorry to see the failure of our commitments in the Sahel. And I think that in any case, we will have to ask ourselves the question again, because we can't imagine having on our doorstep an entire continent that is sinking in the destruction of government and the tools of state, drowning into a form of chaos, of war, of civil service in many countries, and more countries are in difficulties linked to climate change, which are even more dramatic on vulnerable populations such as African populations. In addition, a continent which will experience a demographic explosion that the continent has never known. And so imagine that this happens in the next 10 to 20 years and to think that it won't have any consequences on Europe because we live in a sort of bubble protected by I don't know what. It's simply being naive. And so I think that this common interest should one day push Europe to decide to act as a political entity that will defend itself, even its interests, including by means of the engagement of its military. The withdrawal from the Sahel is difficult to accept for everyone who is involved in it. I'm the first to have a hard time swallowing this. It's a fail for French, Europeans, and Africans, which mainly come from what we do not have not understood, that the action had to be a global action, the restoration of the state, the return of administrations, the return of development. And if we can't do all of this simultaneously and in a coordinated manner, we are heading towards failure. That's what happened. What I find hard to swallow is when they tell me that it's the failure of a military operation, and that it is not a failure of a military operation. The military operation was one dimension. I am convinced that in a few years, I don't know if it's 10 years at least or more, we will have the obligation to return to help these African countries. It is not China, Russia, and Wagner who will provide lasting solutions to very serious difficulties experienced by these African countries and their populations.
Like, this guy is a former French Army Chief of Staff advising Europe to do what?
When we are decolonizing?
Yeah.
Never.
So, he insists that the future of Europe lies in Africa, which is true. The future of Europe lies in Africa. And if we just tell them leave and we are not doing business with you, it's over. And Europe should consider war as a means to achieve this. This comes from the withdrawal of French troops from the Sahel, which is fueling these neo-colonial fantasies. And General Francois Lecointre, former chief of staff, openly expresses his regrets and calls for a new European military intervention. His remarks, tinged with paternalism and contempt towards African countries, are arousing indignation. So this guy talks about the withdrawal of France from the Sahel is a failure for France, Europe, and Africa, and he affirms that Europe must defend its interest on the African continent and be capable of taking charge of its destiny on a military level. Guys, it means that we need to fight. For real. We need to fight, we need to wake up, we need to...
War.
Yeah, we need to go, and this is not the first time. This is the second time we are hearing someone doing this. So it's in plan. And if we continue being their puppets, mashallah.
And when you see Captain Traore buying this army equipment, he's
sophisticated.
He knows why he's doing that.
And he's going to the people who support, this fight.
Yeah, these people know what is coming. They know that France cannot just go out without a fight. And they need to be prepared, for anything.
Yeah.
And if sentiments are coming out from people of this high
caliber,
station, you are like, what?
Yeah, and this guy talking about, he also mentions the future demographic explosion. Like, Africa population should not grow. And he says this will be a consequence on Europe. I don't know why.
Stop growing. How is it affecting?
Of course, when you see, like, for example, when you have, like, India. Indians, it's very simple for India to say we are taking everything we have, it's ours. It's not going out. When you have a lot of people, hungry people, it's easier to do that. But when you control the population, you have your puppets, people who have more to eat, but they, you continue controlling.
Much to survive.
Yeah, you continue controlling the resources. But now they are scared of African exploding population. And there's a lot that is talked about, guys. You can tell us what you think about this guy. But I think we need to wake the 50% of our people who are still sleeping so that fight. So we need to be very careful.
In fact, why are we still here? We need to be making more and more babies to fill up the land of our beautiful continent. Yeah. Guys, I don't know what you think.
So let us go and do that.
Go you guys go and multiply. We'll see you in the next
one.